Greetings, salutations. Happy Monday, August the 17th, 2026. Welcome to Backstage, the daily show for entrepreneurs, founders, visionaries, and builders ready to stop waiting in the wings and let their stories power their growth. Happy Monday. I hope you had a great weekend. And today I've got joy on my mind. And you might say, why the hell do you have joy in your mind? Well, let me tell you. I've been doing a book club. My friend and colleague Shannon Hernandez, her company's called the Joyful Business Revolution. I'll drop a link to that in the description. She has a book she put out a number of years ago now, and then we were talking and she decided to do, I'm not taking credit for her deciding to do this, but I did celebrate it. Let's put it that way. She said, I need to do a book club for the book. It's called Practical Joy, Simple Tools to Cultivate More Joy Every Day. It's a workbook. It's got places for notes. It's got beautiful imagery and art. She's really prolific at that. But here's what really resonates with me is we can lose the thread. If you ever woken up and gone, man, I don't know how I ended up doing all this stuff that I don't like to do. Maybe it's your schedule. You're having meetings during times that don't work for you. You're not giving yourself enough rest. You're trying to pedal really, really hard. And you're thinking, man, is this all really worth it, right? It's easy in this world to get off track. And even a little bit off track can mean a very large detriment. There's a high cost, shall we say? And it's not easy. It's not easy to figure it out because, many people want to have meetings with us and, there's just a lot of competing signals. So there's no perfect way. But she did this thing in we were doing this book club. It's every Monday. It's like for 4 weeks, I think. Today is week 3. Coming up after I record this, I'll be on that. But last week, we did something that I thought I wanted to share with you. So if you feel like there's a deficit in the amount of joy that you feel like your business, your work is giving you, and again, even if you're working for someone else, it's still, this is really, if you have your own business, you have more control, I suppose, but you still have a fair amount of control even if you work for someone else. There are things that you can control, right? So maybe it's your routine before you go to work, maybe it's what you do during work, how you schedule your meetings, etc. But if you're looking to up the joy factor just a little bit, I found this to be really, really cool. So she calls it the Joy Compass. And you think about what are the values that you most align with that bring you joy? What are the values most important for your joyful connection with yourself, right? So it could be humor. That's definitely one for me, is laughing. I like to have a good time. It could be, I don't know, whatever it is for you, right? Now, I wrote down, mine had to do with like really deep human connection is a huge value. It brings me great joy, really connecting with people deeply about what's going on. So what you do is you draw a cross, basically. Think like you're making just a line vertically and a line horizontally with arrows pointing out. So it's like a compass, right? And there's 4 sections to look at. On the top, in the north part of the compass, you write the word time. How does this value shape my time? Meaning, how is it impacting how I'm spending my time? And it might not be impacting it much at all. And then you turn that dial and you'll be more joyful. So there's that. On the east side, work. How do I want this value to shape what I create, offer, say, how I sell, how I operate? How do I want to infuse it into my life and my business? On the southern part of the compass, relationships. How does it shape how I connect, collaborate, communicate, ask for support? And on the western side of the compass, it's body/energy. How does it shape how I care for my nervous system, my capacity, rest, movement? More of a physiological connection to it. So you write your value in the middle of the compass. And then in the north, it's time. East is work. South is relationships. And west is body and energy. And there's your compass. And if you can fill that out, so for me, the deep human connection, it really made me think about the types of meetings I'm accepting and seeking, how much time I'm giving to those meetings, and whether or not some of those meetings should be in person versus virtual. It's a different quality. So I'm not going to talk about what I concluded, but let's just say that, it made me start putting options through that filter already, just even thinking about it. Now, work, how do I want this value to shape what I create? That takes me into everything from the sales process to the onboarding to how I work with clients, how we communicate, how I communicate with prospective clients and collaborators. And I'll give you an example. So I had an issue recently with someone who did not like the recorder kind of automatically entered the room for a meeting. And it was a one-on-one with someone whom I had met in person, but we were following up online. And the recorder just automatically joined. And I'm so used to this happening now with other people and other calls, I didn't think much of it. For this person, that was a real problem. And they did not like it. And it caused a bit of friction. And it helped me to see a blind spot, how quickly we can adapt with all this technology and let it seep in. And for some people, it can come between us. So that worked against deep human connection because I didn't have a conversation with this person beforehand and really agree on what kind of environment online would provide the best environment for connection. So thinking those things through, very important. Relationships, and they're all, of course, overlapping, right? How do we connect and collaborate? What kinds of offerings am I going to do that create opportunities for deeper human connection? So not being as task and outcome oriented on the surface anyway. Of course, we want outcomes, right? But it's not all about crushing goals and driving results and all of that language that we've gotten so used to. All important stuff, but putting it in perspective, because if I want human connection, that takes time and curation and intention. And then body and energy, it's funny, needing more rest. I mean, I rest a fair amount. Exercise is really important, but what comes up for me there is I do these walks in Central Park with people and connect in Central Park. It's a way to move your body and connect. And I haven't done that in a little while. I need to continue doing that, but that's why I do it. So it kind of validated something I already instinctively have done that brings me joy, and say, oh, wait, when was the last time you set that up? Maybe you need to set up your next one. So just having this compass, I have found to be really, really useful. Again, put one of the values that you most associate with cultivating joy in your life in the middle. And on the north, time, east, work, south, relationships, west, body, energy. And again, this will all be in the notes. I encourage you to make your own compass and see where you're feeling fulfilled or most connected or integrated with that value that you mentioned, and where there's a deficit or a gap that would, if you meaningfully close that gap, would probably up your joy factor. And I think we can all use a little more joy, right? All right, so that's what I got for you today. No articles, no other types of data. I do have a really good article I came across, but I just decided to go with this instead for today to kick off Monday. It's still summer. Hopefully it gives you a more joyful week, but there will be other really value-added information coming later this week. So listen, I hope that helps. Please invite your friend or colleague, someone building something, a visionary, to join us and subscribe to the podcast. As always, be good to yourself and others. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great rest of your day wherever you are, and we will check back again with you tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.